Um, this presentation effectively describes um, transformative learning in the classroom with AI, but utilizing tools that AI tools called GPTs. Um, keep going. What I'm going to be talking about requires GPTs. It requires actually both that the developer of the GPT and the student or the learner has access to the paid version for ChatGPT. Um, just show you quickly how to get in and do it. Um, so under Explore, the top heading, um, or actually the top element always is create a GPT. Kind of works like this. Say I wanted to create a GPT to um, say grade students assignments. I can add a short description here, a GPT to grade student submissions. Now we're providing instructions here, and I might have something that looks like this. I already have one built like this, so I'm just going to put it in. And so in every one of my instructions, I provide an overview. My grading assistant serves educators and students. So I built this tool so that students could actually pre-grade their assignment before submission. Um, for educators, it offers detailed feedback on assignments, highlighting strengths and areas needing improvement, frankly, in a way that is better than I ever have time to do. For students, it acts as a predictive tool, showing how their work might be received and suggesting ways to enhance it. The dual approach ensures feedback is educational, focusing on qualitative assessment rather than direct grading, although it can assign a grade. The assistant is designed to ask clarifying questions, uh, blah, blah, blah. How it works, the user will submit an assignment description, a grading rubric, one provided by the instructor, which has to be precise, um, has to identify the grading category, and the different levels of points and the explanations for achieving those points. And if one does that, then it can actually be quantitative in its assessment as well. I, in my assessment, provided grading category, points earned. This is what GPT will assign. Points available, that's the max points available. The reason for deduction, and then the criterion for points. Criterion for excellent, points, excellent min, points, excellent max, criterion good, etc. The GPT will review the submission to find the submission content related to each grading category, and then it will assign points. And if there are deductions, it will note what those deductions are. The GPT should be formal, how it should respond, should be concise. It's essential that the GPT respond first with a positive comment and provide details on what could be improved. Step-by-step instructions. First, ask the user they are a student seeking feedback or if they are a teacher. Next, ask the user what or student to upload the assignment rubric, and the student submissions. The GPT should then reach rubric grading category, do its work, assigning a score, and documenting the reason for deduction. And then eventually develop a Word document, Excel, or whatever I want here set Excel. And I just like to put on the code interpreter. These are options. There are no knowledge sources here. I'm just going to say, let's start with a conversation starter. It's excellent. And I can preview this. And I'll hit the Let's Start button. Great. To begin with, could you please specify I am a faculty. So it's asking me to upload some documents. And do that. So here is a grading rubric for one of my classes. Here is the assignment description. And here is one of the submissions. And once these are loaded in, then I can get the grade done. Let's see how it does. I'll pause. I'll come back when this is done. Oh. So now it's actually doing the grading. And on and on. So it has got through the first category, assigned a grade, and it will keep doing this as it goes through each of the grading categories, assign a grade, and then ultimately produce, in this case, a Word document that could be attached to the student's submission in their course management site. That's what I wanted to start with. How do you do it? What do I mean by GPT? But before I do go further, I did want to talk a little bit more about why this is important and more generally how GPTs can really enhance what you're trying to do in terms of your education. So I called this session AI in the Classroom, Getting Started with GPTs. Now we know how a GPT can be developed. Let's kind of go into what it is and why this is important. So the early research is actually quite striking. A study came out this summer in July, where two faculty from MIT, math professor, and an electrical engineering professor showed or suggested that GPT with proper prompting could solve every problem in electrical engineering and mathematics. Anyway, that paper was submitted and kind of submitted as a draft online. They got a lot of feedback, especially in terms of defining what proper prompting is. Turns out that they have since retracted the paper. I suspect not because they don't believe that it's still capable of solving every problem. It's just that they have a lot more validation and proving to demonstrate that it can actually be used. And in fact, the faculty were the ones actually getting the answers. So their ability to write the prompts was actually quite good. This study that Ethan Malik, Harvard MBA professor, completed and reported on this summer, this last early fall, was phenomenal. It worked with Boston Consulting Group, which has engaged 145,000 employees worldwide in a number of different activities where they could either use ChatGPT or not. In fact, the population of workers was divided into three. One, a control group that did not use AI, another group that was permitted to use ChatGPT without any training, so first-time users, and another group that had an hour or two in training. And gosh, the results were striking. One, there was something like a 25% increased speed in doing tasks, and the users of AI, despite having almost no experience or zero experience, you produce 40% improved accuracy in doing the assignments. Imagine, if you would, if the folks using the AI had been super users, and now you're not talking about 40% more accuracy and 25% more productivity, but many people are reporting 10x productivity and improved accuracy as well. I myself feel that way. So additionally, there's just emerging evidence of the fact that our students are going to be using this when they finish the university. And frankly, they need to be developed to use this right and to use this for learning, and not for just getting answers in the end. And that's what the rest of this session is about. I'm not going to really go into this, but I have been working on a company called Lightning Minds, where we have actually developed a personalized AI mentored learning tool that has two aims. One, to advance the thinking skills, the skills needed to properly use AI for us. And I think a lot of people are recognizing we need students, we need folks who have creativity skills, critical thinking, problem solving, logic. I would add communications. We're not yet assessing that, but we're really trying to improve these abilities and measuring that improvement over time. So exciting to be able to measure changes in these skills, changes in learning, but fundamentally what we're trying to do is understand who the learner is, what their personality is, and what their skills are, and then adapting the learning to the learner. So next I want to talk about the GPTs that I've developed that are accessible to you. And these are the categories of GPTs I've developed to advance their learning. One, GPTs to measure learner profiles, to define who they are, what their characteristics, personality characteristics, cognitive skills, and those other skills I just referred to: creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, logic. And then tailored learning pedagogies for each of the learner based upon their learner profiles. We have also been thinking about how do we develop AI skills and as well measure those skills and talk about some of the GPTs that I've developed to do this. One topic that I've always been interested in is how to engage our students in diversity and inclusion, and really to see different perspectives as they consider problems and systems and scenarios. And I'll show you some apps that I've developed to achieve that. You just saw me develop an assessment app, but I have a few others. One other that I've developed, and that is what I call an oral examiner, which I really like. Say a student is part of a team and makes a submission. The oral examiner will ask them to submit their group submission and respond to questions related to what they submitted to see if, in fact, they really own the learning that was associated with that project. And finally, I'll talk about how I'm integrating GPTs into my courses. So personality assessments, I'll show you some of the things we're doing in Lightning Mind. It's totally stealth. It's just part of the learning experience. But in my GPTs, I've actually built GPTs that enable measurements of different skills. So here's one Big Five personality game I want to play. And the goal is here to measure personality type in 5 different categories: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. And it asks what kind of game I'd like to play in order to assess. So I'm just going to say pickleball. If you like pickleball, great choice. Let's set up a game scenario around pickleball. Imagine you're in a tournament. You've been playing well, but now you're facing a critical match. You notice your opponent seems nervous, but today they're missing easy shots. Do you take advantage of the nervousness to secure a quick win? Do you play more conservatively to give them a chance to regain composure, or offer a brief encouraging word? So for me, it would be C. I like to play the best I can, but I like to play the best games possible. I'd rather see the other player at their best. Let's move to, so it really talks about my strong agreeableness traits. You've reached the finals, and it's a close game. The crowd is unlikely. The crowd is lively and the atmosphere is intense. How do you feel about the situation? Are you excited about the crowd's energy or overwhelmed by the attention? bit nervous, but focused. Okay. I would be energized um, by the energy in the crowd. Hopefully, I'd ham it up a bit um, and have some fun with it. So I'm going to go through this, and this will be one of the last ones I do go through. The tournament is over. You played exceptionally well. You're reflecting. Do you start analyzing your plays, thinking about how you could improve next time? Feel satisfied without overanalyzing, or start thinking you might be wanting to improve on. Sadly, it's for me. Sadly, no. This is B. B. I remember completely the amazing shots I hit. I remember the fun and joy of playing. But I also think I internalize things that work best and the types of shots I didn't do as well. I know that my mind will process some of these offline. This probably is less. After the tournament, you have a chance to join a pickleball club where you play regularly and meet people. Uh, I wish we had one that was close. It would be A. Um, Pickleball isn't just about competition. It's about joy and social experience. It is. So here we go. I'm getting my agreeableness high, extroversion high, openness to experience moderate, um, conscientious with a balanced approach to reflection and improvement, neuroticism low. I'm just going to say yes. And one of the things I'd say is in our learning app, we're continuously evaluating and updating these characteristics. For this GPT would be a one-time hit. And now I'm getting my scores in all the big five categories as well. And just want to show you what comes out at the end. And then quickly, I'll just be providing overviews for the other GPTs. Maybe I'll do one more example when I look at Pedagogies. So, should be about done. So what it's doing at this stage is developing a JSON file that represents my Big Five personality scores. These are, this is a document then that I would ask students to inject or upload into future learning assignments so that the AI knows who they are and can tailor their communications, directions, instructions, questions to that style. And so I'll download it, and it is downloaded. I'll just show you that. I put it in a JSON format, just because it's just a really nice compressed way, an organized way to store information. Regardless, it's here. Not opening it up right now. I can just open this with text editor. Excellent. And what you're getting is it's basically saying what the overall categories, big 5 personality scores, and in consciousness, there are different subcategories: competence, order, dutifulness, achievement striver, self-discipline, deliberation, agreeableness, etc., etc. And so what it is actually evaluating me is in each of the big 5 personality categories and all the subcategories. Pretty cool. All right. So we're doing, have similar assessments for cognitive abilities, creativity, critical thinking, and problem solving. I am at the end of this YouTube session presenting links to all of these GPTs. Good. Learning pedagogies. Built a number of different pedagogies that could be of use to you. One is the AI lecturer that basically presents information to the learner, actually based upon the learner's profile. It's intended to be somewhat engaging, but it really is about lecturing and presenting information, much like many faculty do in their classroom. And by the way, this is by far the worst. Experiential learning, guiding students through the experiential learning cycle. Be the teacher, where the student has to teach a simulated student learner at some specified level. And I'll show you an example of this, and I'll show you an example of constructive learning. Constructive learning is where the AI guides students in a process to construct their learning. So they're effectively building their own scaffold for learning to get to some end learning goal. Open inquiry learning is a little bit like this, but it actually just starts with a question that I, as a faculty, would provide them to give them a direction for the learning that they would want to achieve. So I would say something like that. Can you describe how the culture of Cervantes influenced his writing of the novel Don Quixote? Or can you learn about, or I would say something like, what is the basic operation of an artificial neural network? It could just be a simple 1-sentence question to start. Immersive learning, very interesting. We can develop GPTs to put people into different cultures, such as, for example, putting students into the village of Cervantes so they could better understand his place in the world and how his novel was influenced by that place, or we can engage them in immersively in experiments and in technologies and in scientific processes um, to better see, feel, taste, measure what's going on. I'm only going to focus on two, and the first one will be constructive learning. Ah, good, but let me just get to excellent. So it's a constructive learning guide, adaptive learning assistant using constructivist learning pedagogies. So let's get started. And so great. If you have your learning profiles, can you add those now? So that's what I'm looking for. Give me just a sec. Well, good. So I actually did all of my GPTs um, and combined them into one, sorry, all of my learning or user profile characteristics. Um, and try that again. I've loaded those in. Now it's ready to roll. Um, these are, gosh, personality, cognitive abilities, creative skills, um, problem solving, and critical thinking skills. Now, what specific topic might you like to explore? So let's do that. Uh, uh, I'll just say the basics of artificial neural networks. How familiar are you with the concept of neural networks? When I introduced this to my seniors in mechanical engineering in my engineering analysis class, um, they really don't know anything. So I'm just going to say from scratch. That's what it asked here. So let's go. So you notice the GPT is starting with what the learner knows, um, and is asking the learner to define it. So can read. How would you visualize? Think about simple structures. Um, like friends sharing information. I like, in fact, this GPT has been instructed to provide analogy. Um, but let's take this analogy a little further. Um, how about a concrete example? By the way, so useful to um, work with students to show how something like this could be used in practice in the classroom, um, so that they can have a better idea as to how to actually converse with the AI, and what kind of questions, et cetera, they might want to ask. Of course, these things could actually be built into the instruction too, but I haven't. Imagine you're at a party with a group of friends. You hear a piece of news. You want to decide if it's true or not. You don't know, so you ask a few friends. Each friend doesn't know for sure either, but they have a feeling about it. Some think it's likely true, others think it's false. They base their opinions on past experience and knowledge. You are the output node of a neural network making a final decision based on inputs. Your friends share are like hidden nodes, each processing the information news based on their individual weights and experiences and giving you very good. How about another concrete example um, in an area I'm interested in, or not really, but in manufacturing, let's say. Imagine that a factory produces gadgets. Final quality depends on various factors, raw materials, precision in assembly, the machinery. The network is the factory's quality control system. Each stage is a production, um, receive information input, um, blah, blah, blah. Each node processes the input based on training criterion. In other words, we're not just doing things randomly and haphazardly, chaotically. We're utilizing prior learning to improve the effectiveness of each step along the way. That's what a neural net prepares to do. And yes, I like it. But what is an artificial neural net? I could have that misspelling there and GPT wouldn't care, but I don't like misspellings. Glad to hear the examples. And now it's giving some definition into what an ANN is. The layers, typically input layer, hidden layer, output layer. The networks learn by adjusting the weights, blah, blah, blah. So I could keep going on and on. I'm going to stop at this point and go back to the presentation. Here. So I really like this pedagogy, constructive learning, and open inquiry learning, and adapting to students' um, efforts. Really love the immersive experiential learning um, in guiding students through projects and experiences. Immersive learning for putting people in students and learners in a context. But these two pedagogies apply to anything, and so does this. So, for example, after I've engaged a student in instructive learning experience where they really have achieved the learning goal that they set out. I then ask them to follow it up with being the teacher. And so let's employ that one. This is correct. Yes, I'm ready to begin teaching. So in it, uh, first, have you completed the games, the document with your personality? If you haven't, here you could go to these websites to get your big five in your cognitive game, and then download your profiles. But I am just gonna load them in here. I am teaching. By the way, I love that the AI recognized who I am, and it actually is going to be working with me to teach a student. But I am going to be teaching a fifth grade student, typical student, the basics of artificial neural networks. Now, the instructor could set whatever level they wanted to speak. Oh, I think I jumped ahead on that one. Let's just put that back in. I didn't pay attention to the instruction, the first instruction offered, but now I've got my profile. Oh, so it asked me to put in information about the student. But I don't have anything, so I would just have said, just consider the student as typical. Regardless, let's begin. What specific content? The basics of an artificial neural network. Okay, student. We are going to learn about artificial neural networks. Let's start simple. Let's say you have, let's say you are playing tag, and freeze tag. When you touch a player that is moving, you are it. When you are it and touch a player that is moving, they stop. Perfect. In other words, they stopped conveying information. You then look where the other players are, where the other moving players are. Who do you go to first? On and on. So what you'd really like the student to do ultimately is to go from simple to more complex so that they actually get the message down. By the way, this becomes, at the end of this, I would just ask the students to download the chat session, and they do that by going to their name in the ChatGPT window, the settings in beta, data controls, and then simply hit the export button, and that exports the chat file to their email. And then they could actually submit that downstream. So in fact, that is kind of my submission requirement for many of my GPT related activities. Let's just do immersive learning. This is the Cervantes example. And it starts. Welcome to the village today. You will step into the shoes of a young Spaniard named Diego. Diego is a 20-year-old apprentice to local craftsmen during the 16th century. Member of the lower middle class, Diego's life is modest but filled with rich cultural experiences. Before we begin on our journey, understand cultural norms, respect for social hierarchy, religious sensitivity, community engagement, gender roles, traditional gender roles. Now let's start your day as Diego. You step out your modest home. First encounter is with Father Ignacio, the village priest. Father Ignacio warmly smiles. Buenos dias, Diego. Diego, how are you this morning? I was just contemplating. What do you think of his views of St. Thomas and the nature but I don't really know who St. Thomas Aquinas, I actually do, but is. I'm guessing that Diego isn't educated other than through his trade, and this would be a foreign concept to him. And this goes on and on. Anyway, super interesting to plant students into experiences and with people who aren't them, to learn from those people, those experiences, hopefully in somewhat of a real world context. Good. So, learning pedagogies, done. Now, skill development. We have developed, or I built GPTs to measure skills, but also to engage those skills and get feedback on how they could improve those skills. So let's just do creativity. Creative play for creativity measurement using Torrance's creativity assessment approach. Let's play. this to tailor this experience, could you tell me what theme or interest the most? This could be anything from this is the measurement game. Uh, so this isn't the what I wanted. Wrong link. That measures creativity. Let's go to creativity development game. Here we go. So breakthrough, a mentor for training, nurturing, unlocking creativity. Let's create a way. So either one, I could let it assign me a challenge, or two, it could, but first it's asking me to upload my score. Do I have a specific math challenge in mind? Yes. How to best integrate AI into the learning experiences of university. I'm just gonna, since I'm engineering, I'm gonna say engineering student. So it asked a great question. So how can we integrate AI into university engineering education in a way that enhances hands-on learning skills? Now let's brainstorm some ideas. Think about various ways and how they could apply in this problem. And I'll just do one. But it can't build. Build and test in the real world. It could be used to help a student design experiments and experiment to answer a challenging question and help the student design a test matrix to answer the question. It could then guide the student in the build of the experiment, in the build and testing of the experiment. In the real world, then it could work with the student to analyze and evaluate challenging them to consider their errors, etc. The uncertainty in their measurements and its impact on their analysis and conclusions. That's just one way. So the cool thing about this is, oh, by the way, when you see an error, it's really just a GPT error that they've not caught, their technology hasn't caught up with the number of users as they continue to grow and grow. So now it's like assessing my idea. Your idea is quite original, blending AI's score 4 out of 5, effectiveness 4 out of 5, feasibility 3 of 5, significant resources integration efforts. So really, really good. Based on these scores, your ideas for enhancement, consider one suggestion is to incorporate knowledge distance, reframing challenges. Would you like to refine your idea? For instance, framing the use of AI not just but as a partner in innovation might encourage students to think more broadly. I like the idea of AI as a partner. So especially the AI could be in voice chat mode. So even as the student is conducting the experiment on their phone, they can be walking side by side with the AI. I see the AI working in this role throughout the process. This is the only way this ensures the integration almost an AI friend or conscience. So now it's assessing me, talking about the new idea or the refinement in the idea. So in the process, though, I not only I was given suggestions on how to improve the score, and one of our goals is to by continuously providing feedback to effectively ingrain in the learner all the things that they could do to improve. So basically, I upgraded every one of my scores in a legitimate way. And I could keep going on and on. So my feasibility score, main challenge would be ensuring AI is robust and intuitive enough for varied student interactions. So we come back and say something that, well, each student will be submitting their learner profile. And so the AI can be responsive just to them in the end. Anyway, have similar activities for the other directions. Good. Hey, just a few more. So here's a tool. Actually, I have two tools here. One to advance inclusive design. So it's to, what it does is simulate diverse team members coming into design. And it also encourages designers to think about who the product or the technology or the system that they're looking to develop, who it's for. And it encourages them to broaden their perspective of the target and think about how that might change their design. Transdisciplinary solutions, let's do that one. It's actually what it does is it helps the learner first better define what other disciplines might best contribute. I'm going to say a process for integrating how to integrate AI into university education. Should have said just ask one question at a time. I maybe didn't do that. What aspects, I'm going to say aspects. But for now, let's focus on curriculum and curriculum, and let's focus on curriculum, and I'm going to put in parentheses learning, because it should change curriculum as well. Two, outcomes. Recommendations for pedagogical integration of AI. And three, is there a particular AI, or just say all AI technologies? All academic units, students, educators, administrators, IT support folks, employers actually need to be part of this, and alumni as well. The idea is that with AI integration, we can also be in a position where we may be able to better engage alumni too. So now it's asking me to broaden my perspectives, future employers, future trends to think about these things. You got it? On and on and on. One of the things that this tool does is helps us see things we don't see. First, starting with our own ideas and perspectives. Assessment, already really have talked about that. I would add super easy to do no or little code coding. So I'm just going to use regular GPT for this. I haven't really built an assistant. But I'm going to say something like, can you, actually, better yet, I'm going to go to Explore, and the toolbox I'm going to use is called Data Analyst, developed by GPT. Can you develop a simple random forest model in Python using using the iris data set? Simple, I'm going to say regression random forest. Iris is a data set that is used often to validate machine learning models. So now it's telling me what it will be doing with the script. And I'll start by loading the data and setting up the model. So it's actually building our code right now. For engineering, computer science folks, and actually coding now becomes accessible to everyone. We simply need to be in a position where we understand our goals and as well the logic to be able to support those goals. It's loading in this data set and actually running the code. So it's been trained. The mean squared error on the total data set is set. So it's actually given me Python script right here and told us that the mean squared error is 0.038. Now, one of the things that it did in my model is set the number of estimators, or what are called trees, to 100. So I might say, can you now modify the script to consider the number of trees as a variable ranging from, oh, by the way, if I wanted to save this script, I just copy the code and paste it onto my local drive, as a variable ranging from 10 to 1,000 with, I'm just going to say 5 total levels. Instance. Then reports the MSE and R squared errors for each instance. Oh, I timed out. Point though, when you build a simple, and the way this works is if you build a simple script and then simply ask GPT to modify the script, you now have a working model that just needs adaptation. It's already trained, and the chances of getting a good script are really improved substantially, and good and working script. GPT has a Python server with numerous packages built on its site, so it can actually do the analysis and the data analysis up to the limitation of a 60-second window to process code. I might come back to this and say, please, now let me upload my own data set and identify the input features and target features, and then develop the model accordingly. Could ask it to then plot the results, etc. But what an amazing thing to have done. The second thing I've done is build an AI tool development app, and in it helps you actually develop your own AI talking tool or backend tool that can take input and then leverage that input, call OpenAI ChatGPT through an API, and then get the response from ChatGPT and integrate it into code. Pretty cool. So this is what I'm doing relative to my course integration as it now stands. One, I am engaging students in their interests in what I call projects to actually impact the world right from the beginning of a semester. My students are taking on more complex challenges as a result of the AI integration. And the aim this semester in all of my courses is to actually have them build something that can have a place in the world, either as a business or in supporting organizations that are doing good things. But I am also integrating in learning modules all throughout the course. And in those learning modules, I am including individual learning assignments and AI skills development all throughout the semester. And in-class episodes, trying to link music art to what I'm doing, students selecting it, building playlists, and a piece of art to showcase that connect to a theme for the course. Students discussing the learning skill development, leading that conversation. The insights that I would add to learning that they achieve, the potential connection of their learning to the real world and to the projects that they are working on. Team-based activity or team active learning activity of some type where they would take that learning and immerse themselves in it. That would be in the classroom with people working together. I really want the classroom to be very much discussion and teaming-based activity. And then actually for every class, beyond the first week, I would have planning peer-led, research-based active learning experiences. So it could be addressing ethics, social impact, data security, future fears of AI, things that could go wrong, you name it. Finding errors in AI and how you get around those errors. So I really want students to own the teaching of their peers through active experiences. So them developing these team active learning assignments instead of just me. Anyway, that's how I'm putting it in. I thank you for your time. Hopefully you will enjoy this AI journey. I frankly am, that's all I can say. Take care.